Hi guys, welcome back to my YouTube channel. OMG, that has got to have been the craziest race I have ever seen in Formula One. And you know what? I was meant to actually post this video last night, but I felt as though I needed time to digest everything that I had witnessed. We had virtual safety cars, we had safety cars, we had yellow flags, and we had red flags. It was filled with entertainment, and from the get go, I, as a viewer and a Formula One fan, was extremely nervous. So I have no idea what the drivers must have been feeling, and you know what? This race is definitely a race that will go down in history, that's for sure. It's extremely controversial as well, and in the end, it was Lewis Hamilton who claimed victory, with Max Verstappen coming second. Having two red flags, that equated to having three standing starts, and I have to say, see, watching this race, it really made me hot and sweaty. In terms of my highlight of the race was probably that third standing start when it was Ocon starting from the front with Lewis second and Max third, and Max just overtaking Lewis. That was pretty sweet, wasn't it? I'm sure Max would have been proud of his work there. And yeah, and then Lewis hitting the back of Max. In my opinion, I don't think it was any of their faults. I don't think, like Max was told to give up the position, so that's what he was doing, and there was actually plenty of space for Lewis to go. So I don't understand why he hit the back of him, but at the same time, Lewis wasn't given any information about Max giving up his position, so it was just a misunderstanding. So I don't think anyone's really to blame in that incident. Also, I just want to add, I loved seeing Toto Wolff's reaction, just the way he like threw his headphones. I don't know, I found that like very entertaining to like watch, and it made me laugh. And it was Valtteri Bottas who claimed that third position. I have to say that was quite hard to watch actually. Esteban Ocon just getting beat by Valtteri just right at the last moment there. He definitely stole that position off him. He was completely robbed, but what could we do? It would have been nice to have a different driver, like from a different team, on the podium along with the other two. But that's racing, isn't it? So Esteban Ocon got that fourth place, but he deserved that third. He deserved to be on the podium. And then Daniel Ricciardo in fifth. Oh, well done, Ricciardo. You've done a really good job there. And it was Pierre Gasly who came sixth. So Gasly actually started his race off in sixth position and finished off in sixth. So I'm sure he'd be pleased with that result. And it was Charles Leclerc who came seventh. So at the beginning, at the first standing start, Charles, for a split second there, I thought Charles was going to overtake Max, but Max managed to stay in front. Charles had a good race, seventh is still good points, so I'm sure he'd be happy for being his teammate Carlos Sainz. And I think this is the fourth time that the Ferrari drivers have been finishing back to back. So yeah, and then it was Antonio Giovinazzi who got that ninth spot. Very good points for the Alfa Romeo, and Lando Norris managed to pick up that last point that was available on the grid, and he got 10th. 11th place was Lance Stroll, 12th was Nicholas Latifi, 13th was Fernando Alonso. And I just want to point out, Fernando had made a very valid point on the radio. There was a point where the race was green flagged and there was a lot of debris on the track, and Fernando was like, you guys have been red flagging the race like 100 times, but now that there's debris, like, you aren't even bringing like out a safety car, like what's going on? I have to say that was a very valid point by Fernando. And then it was 14th, that was Yuki Tsunoda, and the last car on the grid to finish off the race was Kimi Räikkönen, who came in 15th, and Kimi actually had an incident with Seb. It was very unnecessary contact, but hopefully, you know, Kimi and Seb are actually good mates outside the track, and hopefully it hasn't damaged their friendship too much. So there were 5 drivers who were unable to finish the race, one of them being Sebastian Vettel, and that was just due to contact, I think, that he had with other drivers. One of them being, I think, Yuki Tsunoda, and the other one, Kimi Raikkonen, that I've just touched upon, and the other person being Sergio Perez. I mean, that's actually really unfortunate for Red Bull, especially in terms of constructors. I don't exactly know what happened with Sergio. I think he was sort of sandwiched and then spun off. I have no idea. And then also there was an incident between George Russell and Nikita Mazepin. Mazepin going into the back of Russell. I mean, that looked nasty. I hope George is okay, and that just took them both out. And also Mick Schumacher, that I've already mentioned, which happened, you know, in the early stages of the race when he just made contact with the barriers. I just want to touch upon Sebastian Vettel. So he actually organised an event specifically for women. So this event was a karting event in Saudi, and I thought that was such an amazing thing for him to do, and it just shows you what kind of person he is. And I have to say, I personally was actually really jealous. I mean, if I ever had the opportunity to meet Vettel, I mean, that would be quite epic for me. But who knows if I'll ever, who knows, he might actually do an event in Scotland. But see, if that was ever happening, I'd be right at the front of the queue. It's actually, I have to say, quite a difficult track, which is mentally and physically draining. I mean, in my opinion, changes to the track do need to be made in order to make it just a bit more safer for the drivers, but nonetheless it's still a spectacular track, and we're actually going to come back here quite early on in the 2022 season, so it's actually the second race on the calendar after Bahrain, so that'll be interesting. And I just want to say, like, a big thank you to Lewis and Max for providing us with great battles. And I've not actually seen a fight for the championship this intense for quite a number of years. I mean, last time we seen that when it was Nico and Lewis, and it ended up being Nico Rosberg winning. And normally in previous years, Lewis normally has it wrapped up by now, so it's quite nice that it's going straight down to the wire. A question I get asked all the time is, who am I sporting, Lewis or Max? And my answer is normally Sebastian Vettel. I mean, I wish he was just in a better car, but like, no, in all seriousness, I think it's quite obvious, isn't it? I'm sporting for Max. There, I've said it. I'm talking for Max because I think it will be quite nice to have like a new champion to the sport. Like, honestly, now I cannot wait for next week. I love how it's like an even playing field, equal points, all to play for. I mean, the gloves are definitely off. We are now 21 races down with 1 to go. And also this race is gonna definitely go down in history, and I love how it's just blown up social media. I mean, everyone's gonna be talking about this till the next race, and yeah, so I shall see you guys in our final stop in the Yas Marina circuit in Abu Dhabi. Bye.